Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We will enter Aitareya Upanishad, and this Upanishad belongs to the Rigveda. And as every undertaking begins by the invocation, prayer to the Lord, this Upanishad also begins by a prayer, and that prayer is called a Shanti Part. See the difference between the prayer and the Shanti Part. In prayer, we are asking something, etc., from the Lord. And in Shanti Part, the prayer is offered to attain peace within. Because whatever we are asking in this world, it is for what? It is only for attainment of peace. So the Shanti part is a very clearly offered prayer to the Almighty so that we attain peace within. And for every Veda there is a different type of Shanti part associated with the respective Upanishad. So here in this Rigveda, we will have a different Shanti part. So we will first read the Shanti part and then enter the concerned topic. Om Vang Me Manasi Pratisthita Mano Me Vachi Pratishtitam Aviravirma Edhi Vedasya Ma Anisthaha Shrutam Me Ma Prahasi Anena Dhite Naho Ratran Sandadhami Rutam vadishyami Satyam vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu mam Avatu vaktaram Avatu vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The Shanti part begins with the Om. Om is an address to the Lord. Now this Om is addressed to the Lord, whichever the seeker is in his mind. Suppose somebody is the devotee of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So when he says Om, he is invoking the Lord Krishna. Suppose somebody is the devotee of Lord Shiva. So this Om indicates Lord Shiva, and so on. Or if somebody is the follower of the attributeless, formless reality, that is also included in this invocation Om. Or if somebody is trying to invoke the formless reality with attributes, Saguna Nirakar, that is also indicated by the Om. So the Om is an alambanam, the symbol or the word which is including the reality with attributes and with form, saguna sakara, or the reality with the saguna nirakar, with attributes but with no form, or the reality without attribute and without form, nirguna nirakar. Saguna sakar is essential for the average people who are identified with the body. And who are those average people? All of us. So it is necessary that we have some kind of support for our mind so that we are able to focus the attention on something higher in life. That is indicated by Om. In the Yogamabhyas, the reality that is invoked is Saguna Nirakara. When we do the Yogamabhyas, like control the prana, pranayam, then have proper posture, and thereafter control the mind. So by this what we are doing is, we are reaching the reality with attributes but without form. So this formless reality with attributes is invoked in the Yogamabhyas. In devotion, it is the first kind, reality with attributes and with form. And then in inquiry, in the path of knowledge, on the path of inquiry, the reality that is invoked is the attributeless, formless reality which supports all the attributes and the forms, and therefore it is not contrary to anybody. This is the greatness of this last. The one who is opposed to the reality with attributes and with form, because he is obsessed with the reality without attribute, without form, his understanding is incomplete. The truth is simultaneously transcendental, meaning attributeless, formless, and yet immanent, and therefore supports all the things with attributes and form. In this manner, Om, to that Lord, the seeker is addressing the prayer. Now see, when we offer the prayers with understanding, what happens is, our mind becomes naturally quiet, not sleepy. So when the mind becomes naturally quiet, it is able to absorb the wisdom without much hassle. Otherwise there is a struggle. For example, you must have seen, when we are listening to somebody, either that somebody is talking within the mouth, or that somebody is talking so slow that you cannot hear, then after 2 minutes, 3 minutes, we lose interest, because how long can you struggle? So wherever there is struggle, you cannot absorb the knowledge in its entirety. And therefore, this prayer is essential, so that the mind is fully alert. Nothing has disturbed the mind in the morning except a cup of tea. And if we are able to get beyond that, it's wonderful. So Om. So the mind is now fully integrated and completely available and perfectly alert. Om. Vang me manasi pratisthita. Now this address is to the Lord. O Lord, me vang, my organ of speech or my speech, me vang, manasi pratisthita. May my speech be established in the mind. One. And mano me vachi pratishthitam. and the mind be established in the speech. So these are the two things. This is the first prayer. Now see what is the meaning of this prayer. Mind is the Jnana Shakti. Because all knowledge is gathered, interacted, collected, known through the mind. And speech is the organ of action. So, the knowledge is gathered and responded. So, knowledge is gathered through the mind and that knowledge is responded through the speech. Now what the teacher says, rather the prayer says, that let my speech be established in the mind and let the mind be established in the speech. Meaning what? Let the Jnana Shakti and the Kriya Shakti not contradict each other. See how important it is. And this is one of the most essential aspects of our spiritual practice. When our knowledge is contradicted in action, and when our actions are not the representatives of our knowledge, there is a disintegration of the personality. For example, our knowledge is we should not become angry. This is our knowledge. Or our knowledge is we have no right on anybody in this whole universe. See how simple life becomes. This is our knowledge. Now put that knowledge in action. So what will be that? You told something somebody and you expected and it did not happen, and then we start complaining, these people, So what is happening now inside? The knowledge tells you have no right on anybody in this world. But the speech, the reaction is that we are complaining. So within our own personality, a crack has developed. And see, otherwise what happened? These are the two powers. Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. Never forget this of Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi. Chitta Vayavaha Chit Kriyayuta Shakhayor Shakti Mulaka. The original Mula Shakti is pure consciousness. And this pure consciousness expresses through the mind as the Jnana Shakti and through the organs of action or prana as the Kriya Shakti. Now when these two powers, Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti, they are not tallying with each other. That means when the Vang Manasi na Pratisthita and when Mano Vachi na Pratishtitam, then what will happen? The gap between them will start increasing. And when they are beginning from the same point, so they are actually going away from each other with every additional disagreement between knowledge and action. And when our life becomes such, then all our knowledge is totally not reflected in actions. And all our actions are never in tune with the knowledge. The result is the gap between the Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti becomes so wide. And the result is what? Result is lack of self-confidence. Because we will be knowing about ourselves. Whatever I have decided to do, it can never happen. I am not cut for anything, I am a useless person. I cannot achieve anything. Why this happens? Because we have developed that personality. The knowledge is always denied in action. Therefore, the first requirement for the study of scriptures is let our personality be fully integrated. This is the load of these simple looking two sentences. O Lord, let my knowledge be reflected in the actions and let my actions reflect the knowledge behind them. O Vang me manasi pradishtita, mano me vachi pradishtitam, avihi ma edhi. So, the first one, avi, is a vocative case. Avi means, O self-effulgent reality, O Lord. So, avi, me avi edhi. Please manifest yourself in the full glory in front of me. Ma means me, edhi. So please manifest in front of me. So there are two aspects in this prayer. First aspect is, let my knowledge and action be fully integrated. When the knowledge and actions are fully integrated, that integrated experience is the manifestation of the divinity. This is the meaning. See, when the prana is quietened and the mind is thought free, what happens is both these Shaktis, Kriya Shakti and Jnana Shakti, they revert back to consciousness. So recognition of the consciousness is possible when Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti are fully fused back to their source, called as the Shuddha Chaitanya, and that is called as the manifestation of the divinity in our life. How see beautiful this prayer is. Aviravirma edhi. So we should have now very clear picture. The manifestation of the Lord or the vision of the God is a recognition that we are basically the consciousness, and this consciousness is functioning through the mind, consciousness is functioning through the body, and therefore this consciousness is not the partner of good or bad that is happening in the body or the mind, because there is no individuality born. Like a good thing is seen by the same eyes and a bad thing is seen by the same eyes. So by seeing the good and the bad, eyes don't get influenced, because there is no individuality born there. So, Vang me manasi pratishtita, mano me vaji pratishthitam. When these two things happen, aviravirma edhi, we reverse back to the pure consciousness, and that is called as, O Lord, please manifest before me. That means, may I revert back to the pure consciousness. And Vedasya ma anistaha. After having said this, now for the manifestation of the divinity in front of me, what is required? I know very well. What? It is only through the authority of the scriptures only the truth can be revealed. And therefore, O my mind and speech, O my Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti, Vedasya me anistaha, kindly bring the wisdom from the scriptures to me. So how the scriptural wisdom comes to us? Through the speech and the mind. And how the world comes to us? Through the same gateway, speech and the mind. So when we are engaged in the worldly topics, and when we are discussing or thinking about the objective world, This mind and speech bring the duality in our life, and the samsara, the relativity begins. So now the prayer is, let the mind and the speech bring the Vedasya me anistaha, Vedasya of the scriptures wisdom. So the scriptural wisdom may be brought to me by these two channels. That means what? May I decide for final that I have nothing to discuss, talk about anything in this world except the truth. The other day somebody asked me here, he came, he said, Swamiji, why are you having so many classes? You don't need all these things, but why are you taking? I said, if I do not keep myself busy on the subject talking, then all the nonsense talks will come up around me. At least now 5 hours I am definitely with the reality. Otherwise, again, he is like that, she is like that. My problem is my husband, my wife like that. There is no end to that. Again, you end up in this world. Therefore, let our mind and speech contemplate, think, talk only about the reality. This is the prayer. So, Vedasya ma anistaha and Shrutam me ma prahasi. And whatever I have learned, may it be retained in me. See, the same prayer we have heard in Sahanavatu. Tejasvinavadhitamastu. Whatever we have studied, let it remain bright and brilliant. So here also, Shrutam me ma prahasi. Whatever I have heard, studied, understood, me ma prahasi, should not leave me. That means I should remember whatever I have studied. Otherwise, when the knowledge is not remembered, when the knowledge is not experienced, then we are likely to forget the things anytime. That is why Swadhyayan ma pramadaha. Never give up the regularity of studying scriptures. When I am not here in the morning meditation class, that time are you chanting? All of you coming here in your rooms? But do chant, don't give up. By now you should be able to remember at least 2-3 suktas and all that. 1 year is over. That is more than enough a time. So, Shrutam me ma prahasi. Whatever we have studied, may it not leave us. That means let us remember everything. The problem with us is what? Forgetfulness. All the scriptures, they do only one thing. They wake up us from the sleep of forgetfulness. There is one text on which I have given many lectures, very beautiful text, called as Vedanta Bhupari. And the first OV is Uthi Uthi Ba Jivaraya Sodi Avidya Nindyamaya Vyarthajata Se Narakaya Swarupi Savadha Hoitu. Our whole life is going only in sleeping. And therefore, let us remember whatever we have studied. And because of this expertise in forgetfulness, every morning, without forgetting, we forget our essential nature and get identified with the same gross body. This is nothing but repeated practice. Just imagine one day you get up with this clear understanding, hey, I am functioning through the body, I cannot be the body. That moment onward, your whole life will change. And for that, Shrutam me ma prahasi. Whatever we have studied, it should never be forgotten. Remember it deeply within. Shrutam me ma prahasi. And anena adhitena aho ratran sandadhami. And whatever I have studied, ahoratran, day and night, anusandadhami, day and night I shall keep on this flame of wisdom in me. So, anena adhitena, now whatever we are going to study, by this study, ahoratran sandadhami, may I engage myself fully in this and this alone. There is no other topic that can any more attract my mind now. There is no more topic that my speech should speak. If I have to speak, it is about the truth. If I have to think, it is about the truth. Whether it is day or night, meaning all the time, now I have committed that this and nothing else. See what a powerful the prayer is. Anena dhite naho ratran sandadami rutam vadishyami. Rutam vadishyami. I shall speak the truth. I shall speak the truth means let my vani, the speech, be engaged only in the discussion regarding truth. Rutam vadishyami. Many times it is translated as that I will talk the truth. I will not tell the lies. That is not the meaning. If we have to talk, we should talk about the Lord. If we have to talk, we should sing about the Lord and nothing else. That is the meaning of Rutam Vadishyami. This is how many times mistaken understanding creates problem in our life. That no, Rakukularita sada jaliyai, prana jai, parabhajana na jai. That is not the right approach. I never appreciated that approach. One should be practical in life, like Bhagavan Krishna was. Yes, I have given you a word. Now I break my word. I got my total freedom. I am not your slave. Rama will not go to the forest. You go if you like. See, the whole Ramayana would have been totally different. But then Dasharathji Maharaj, no. Raghukularita sada chali aayi. What Raghukularita sada chali aayi? Therefore, please remember two things. You should be very particular. Never give a word to anybody. Never. I promise I will do. Never do that. Many people ask me, Swamiji, will you please do that? I said, let me see. No, you must promise. I said, forget. Then I give you a promise, I will never do it. Never get caught up in the bondage of words. Never. Because Vani is then pulled to the matter. And we want liberation from this speech. So never give a word. Like, the school children, by God. What by God? Many people, they come and talk to us also. Swamiji, by you, I am telling you. I said, don't take my oath. I don't want to die because of your foolishness. The first is never give a word to anybody. And never make a commitment like, I will see that this is done. I will never talk to you throughout my life. These kinds of things should never be done. So never give a word and never take an oath. It's two things. Then you have protected yourself from the world. And after that, if something happens to somebody, very good, it is Lord's will. You are not involved anywhere. Otherwise, we get caught up in our own words, in our own thoughts. So, Rutam Vadishyami, that means if I have to talk, I must talk only about the truth. So talk about the Krishna Leela, Rama Leela, stories, or Upanishad, or Bhagavad Gita. On that you go on talking. But the theme should be about the reality. Rutam Vadishyami, then Satyam Vadishyami. And how will I talk now? This is very subtle point, please catch it. Satyam means what? Satyam means whatever is my experience, when I am able to convey my experience through the words in the heart of the listener, that is called as Satya. That is why, there are two types of, people from whom we hear. When we hear from some people, nothing is clear. We just don't understand what is going on. And when we hear from some people, it goes directly inside. It is so clear, vivid. Now what is the reason? The second thing, Satyam Vadishyami. And how can we convey that thing? If we are established in the experience, and when we are talking our experience, then only the Satya comes out of our mouth. So, Rutam Vadishyami, Satyam Vadishyami. In this manner, please understand this. So, if I have to talk, I shall talk only about the truth. And I shall talk about the truth in such a manner that it conveys my experience. It is not the book knowledge, it is not the by-hearted knowledge. So, Satyam Vadishyami and Tanmam Avatu. And this Brahman, this truth, for whom my speech is dedicated and about whom I am constantly contemplating, may that truth, the Brahman, the reality, the God, the Absolute, protect me. Tan mam avatu. So tat mam avatu, it has become tan mam avatu. Tat mam to me, avatu, protect. Avadhatu is for the protection. So, avarakshayam, for protection. So, may that reality, the truth, protect me. Now, protect me from whom? When we say, please protect me, naturally the question will come from whom? From the teacher. It is written here, I am not telling you. Tanmam avatu and tad vaktaram avatu, the teacher also must be protected from the students. Because in the class, who are there other than the teacher and the student? So the prayer is, O Lord, please protect me from the teacher. See, the truth can protect us only if we are dedicated to the truth. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. He who is following the laws, then only the law protects them. Those who are not following the laws and rules cannot protect them. So, what is the meaning of let that Brahman protect me? That means, let me not come under the influence of relativity through the speech and the mind under any condition. That is the meaning of Tanmam Avatu. Because it is our speech and the mind alone are responsible for creating the whole gamut of duality in our life. And because of this duality, relativity, the problems of life begin. Now see, the moment you shut up your mouth, no word comes out. Slowly, the relativity will disappear. And one step further, enfold your mind. And when the mind is enfolded, the relativity has completely gone. And that is what is meant by, may that Brahman protect me. That means let the mind and speech not propel me into the relative existence, and may they help me in attaining the absolute being that I am. Tanmam avatu. So what is the protection? Protection is protection from the duality. Protection from the relativity. Protection from... This is further said in many ways. Like Bhavasagara. What is Bhavasagara? It is not a huge ocean and many crocodiles and all things are there, and Bhagavan Krishna comes there with a useless kind of boat and he takes your hand and pulls you in, and puts there. That is not the meaning. Bhavasagara means living at the relative existence. So, Tanmamavatu, may that Brahman help me remain in the absolute abode of non-dual existence, although I have to function through the relativity in this world. Because there is no way for us than to remain in this relative world. So, the prayer is, even if I have to function in this relative world, O Lord, my non-dual experience be not destroyed under any condition. That is the protection. It is something like vaccination. We take various vaccines and after that we have to go in this world. You can't remain away from the world. So, in this world accidents happen, everything happens. Now that doesn't mean you should remain all the time inside the house. No, you have to go. In the same manner, we have to live in the relative world, but at the same time let our absolute understanding about the truth be not compromised or lost under any condition. Tanmam avatu, this is the meaning of that. Tanmam avatu, may that Brahman, the reality, protect me from relativity. So, tad vaktaram avatu, and also may that relativity not influence even the vaktaram, the teacher, the acharya. Why it is said about the teacher? Because Shanti Path is normally chanted together by the teacher and the students. And both of them are invoking the grace of the same infinite, non-dual, supreme reality. And therefore, in the prayer, both are included, the disciples as well as the teacher. The first was the prayer with reference to the disciple, second is with reference to the teacher. Now, the disciples think that we are disciple and the teacher is other than us. But from the teacher's point of view, for him there is nothing like teacher-student duality. He is ever established in this non-dual experience, but we as students are not able to recognize, understand and experience that. Then what we do? We start reacting, misunderstanding all that is happening during the interaction between the teacher and the student, and this is how many a times we are at a loss. So, when it is said that Vaktaram avatu, may that Brahman, the reality, protect the Vaktaram, the speaker, the teacher, the Acharya. So, how he can protect? Let the teacher, Acharya, live in such a manner that he becomes an ideal for the disciples to follow. Yadyadacharati sreshtaha tattadeve taro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanuvartate. If the Acharya is of the type that he comes any time and goes any time, he has no discipline and he becomes angry on every small issue, and he has got tremendous biasness in his mind in favor of somebody or against somebody, then such an Acharya cannot inspire the students. So when it is said, Tad Vaktaram avatu, so let the Acharya demonstrate the knowledge and wisdom in his own life 24 hours. Yesterday I told you these are two approaches. One is according to the Acharya Parampara. Second is according to the Tantric Marga or the Avadhuta or the Siddha Marga. Now in case of this Tantric Avadhuta or the Siddha Marga, what sadhana that Mahatma has done, nobody knows. His name is not known, his place is not known, and he has been doing that sadhana not only in this life but many earlier lives. And when he has come in this life, he has become so purified already. So right from the childhood onwards, all the divine qualities are already manifesting in him. And he is Unmattavad, Balavat, Pishachavat, whatever way he is. Now his life cannot be taken as an ideal for us to live. See? If we take Bhagavan Sri Krishna's life as an ideal to live, not possible. And why Bhagavan Sri Krishna, even Bhagavan Ram, it is not possible. So, had Bhagavan Ram, like Lakshmana would have told his father, that look here, what you tell is true, but this is not right, the whole thing would have been different. Therefore, the one who can really guide the disciples is a teacher who is like them. This is very important. For example, there is a guru, and the guru is having all the divine powers. So when he goes out, above him, umbrella is not required, because the clouds come and no drop of water falls. For him, hunger is not a problem. He doesn't eat, he doesn't drink water, because he has conquered that hunger. Now with such a Mahatma, when you live, you get disgusted. This fellow doesn't get hunger and we are feeling so hungry, but there is no concern. No. That is why he said here, Tat Vaktaram Avatu. May that reality protect the teacher in such a manner that he has to demonstrate an ideal before the disciples to walk the spiritual path. He should not live at a level which is not understandable by the disciples. He has to live as the commoner than the commonest. And yet his uncommon, extraordinary brilliance must be maintained. So, Tanmam Avatu, Tad Vaktaram Avatu, Avatu Mam, Avatu Vaktaram, Avatu Vaktaram. Again, the same prayer is repeated to conclude, Avatu Mam. And may I be protected from myself in the form of misunderstanding, not giving the right kind of interaction to a situation. So if we become positive in thinking, we have protected ourselves from ourselves. See, this is what is done in the first chapter of Gita. What Arjuna has done is he has become totally negative. And when our thoughts are negative, we cannot be creative. If we are destructive. And therefore, the second Avatumam is indicating, oh Lord, let me not have the negative approach to life. Meaning, all that things which happen in my life is one of the most essential lesson I have to learn from. Now see what will happen. When you are constantly in the process of learning, then sin and merit doesn't happen. Be very attentive. When you are entering, let us say, the biology class or medical college, then there you keep the frog and start cutting it and opening and seeing each and every organ and working and studying that. If you are doing that as a student and learning, that time on your mind this impression will not come. That see, I have killed the frog, now will I go to hell or the frog will come kill me? Yes, next life you will become frog and the frog will become a student and he will cut you. Because impression is formed. Therefore, wherever there is a process of learning, No action creates sin or merit. Very important. And wherever there is no process of learning, the sin and merit is what? Sin and merit together is formation of impression on the mind. Because we react. When we get good food, we are so happy. When we don't get good food, we are so disturbed. And when we get good or bad food, we learn. Yes, sometime by mistake the food becomes tasty. It happens. Sometime the food is not tasty. It happens. So learn and go ahead. The main idea is we do not allow any impressions to be precipitated on our mind. That is what is meant in the second avatumam. O Lord, please protect me, that I take care of my inner speech and the mind. Let the speech not be loose and let the mind not gather impression on this. Avatumam, avatuvaktaram. And so also, may the teacher be protected. May he not take extreme steps to teach us. May he teach us the way we will be able to digest it. I remember one day there was one teacher and he was telling the student to chant 15th chapter of Gita. The one brahmachari, he could not chant properly. Now got so angry, write 100 times 15 chapters. So he wrote and gave. Now, writing 100 times 15 chapter, he will write and give because he has to, there is no way out. But this kind of, hard punishment many times destroys the faith, many times destroys the inspiration in the student. Therefore, one must not all the time go on condemning the students. One must not all the time bullying or too much of strictness. There is no good. That is why it is necessary that the teacher must remain in the most friendly, cordial, loving manner and not as a dictator, so that there is fear. Please remember, we must have respect and reverence for the teacher born out of love and understanding. We must not have fear. My God, teacher is coming now. I don't know what he's going to ask today. Such a disturbed mind is not an institution of learning. So, let this be taken care of by the teacher. Therefore, avatu vaktaram. And then, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now, traditional translation of this Om Shanti 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 is, first, there are, 3 things in this world. These 3 things we will be studying in this Aitareya Upanishad. One is Adi Bhautik, second is Adi Daivik, and the third is Adhyatmik. So, Shanti, let the Adi Daivik problems be sorted out. This is the traditional translation I am giving you. So what are the Adhidaivik problems? Tapa means problems. The Adhidaivik problems are terrible rains, too much of floods, or too much of storm, epidemics. These are all Adhidaivik. Breaking the war suddenly. Nobody knows how it started. So may it not happen, so that we can study our scriptures peacefully. Second is Adi Bhautik. Adi Bhautik means when we are studying, let nobody start Ganpati Bappa Moreya right inside your ear with a huge loudspeaker. So Adi Bhautik, the disturbance is created on account of the known source. So Adi Daivik is disturbances on account of the unknown source. Second is the disturbances on account of the known source. And both of them are not under our control. So when some marriage procession is going on with a lot of band baja and your class is going on, what will you do? Ask them, stop getting married? No, this is stop your class. Class is not more important, marriage is more important. So, Shanti Adi Bhautik. Third is Adhyatmik Shanti. Adhyatmik Shanti, I don't know what I am not able to understand anything today. I am very that disturbed mind, frustrated mind, angry mind is not available at all. Just imagine, when you read, in one reading, you are able to comprehend exactly as it is. What a joy it will be. We read again, Om Vangme Manasi Pratisthita Manome Vachi Pratisthitama No Pratishthitam Avira Virma Edi Ane Na Dite Na Ho. And if you are able to go in one go, because your mind is now fully available. I don't know whether you observed yourself or not. Try to do this. This is what I do. When I get from my sleep, mind is very fresh, immediately take for studies or whatever you have to do intensely. Like, writing introduction to the books or some replying some, these spiritual questions. That I always do when I am extremely fresh. Then the mind is able to bring out the unique, the best material. And if the mind is frustrated, depressed, dejected, tired, let me read what it is. Nothing will happen. So the third Shanti is Adhyatmik Shanti. Let the mind remain at peace, undisturbed by the Adi Bhautik and the Adi Daivik sources. And when this happens, then only the study of scriptures will be meaningful, otherwise not. Now the other meaning that you can take out of these three Shantis could be anything, whatever you like. For example, three. What are the three things? So many three things are in this world. One is the gross body, subtle body and casual body. Three bodies. Isn't it? Gross body, subtle body and causal body. Many of them say the casual body. But it is casual only, it's not real. So, the first thing, may the gross body cooperate. Means what? We are able to sit in one posture without getting tired or without a constant thought. Now the class is going to be over. Now the class, I think it is over. My God, it is going beyond that 1 hour. It's 2 minutes more, 3 minutes more. Now why this is happening? Because there is pain here, pain there, pain everywhere. So let the gross body cooperate. When it is required, we should be able to get up from the sleep, from the seat. Otherwise, we will not be able to achieve. So, the healthy disposition of the gross body is prayed, Om Shanti. Second is Om Shanti, the healthy disposition of the subtle body. Let us not become moody, let us not become disturbed, let us not carry the load of the past and destroy the present study mood. Om Shanti. Let the burden of past not destroy the present. Other thing is, many times we unnecessarily go on projecting, imagining. The other day, one of these ladies came. She came, Swamiji, I want to talk to you. I said, talk. What is that? There is no problem. Her problem is this, there is no problem. And therefore, I keep on worrying about anything. Suppose the maid servant tells, that this is what happened. Now that one event from the maid servant which I heard, that keeps me miserable for next 1 week. What I should do? I said, because you don't have your own problem, you borrow somebody's problem. There is no need to think about all this. You can't do anything about it. Swamiji, as regards knowing, I know everything. I can give you better lecture than you. But I can't practice in life. This is what is said here. Om Shanti. Let the mind remain undisturbed. And this can happen only when we are convinced the most valuable thing in this world is peace of mind. Those who get disturbed because of anybody or anything, they are fools. Be very clear about it. And this is not what I am telling. Gatasu na gatasuscha nanu shochanti panditaha. Wise people don't get disturbed because of anything. And those who get disturbed because of anything are otherwise. So, Om Shanti, let the subtle body be under our control, not disturbed. And third, Om Shanti is the causal body. Now, what is the quietening of the causal body? Let our identity crisis be over. Our identity crisis is in the relative world and in the absolute world. Identity crisis in the relative world is what? At this moment, we are studying Upanishad. So we are student and teacher. Now here there be no other identity brought. If at this moment we bring our identity of son or daughter or brother or sister or this or that, then the mind will not be available for study. See how important it is. Therefore, we should be very clear what we are at a given moment of time. This is higher spiritual practice. When you are taking food, enjoy every bite of it. When you are reading, enjoy every word of it. And in this manner, when you start enjoying whatever you are supposed to do, your causal body is slowly disappearing. Because causal body is ignorance about its own identity. And when the identity is not confused, you are all the time alert and one with the divine. Then there is no confusion. What Bhagavan Sri Krishna did to Arjuna in the first chapter in the whole Bhagavad Gita is only this. Arjuna was having identity crisis, and what Bhagavan did, see, whatever is to be told, I told you. Now you decide what you have to do. So he decided in favor of fighting the war because the data provided very clearly told him that he was having only one problem, and that is identity crisis as to what he is. So on the battlefield, there cannot be a relationship of the grandfather and the teacher. On battlefield, there is only one relationship, and that is the enemy versus enemy. That's it. And with that understanding, when you live in this world, your causal body is becoming weaker and weaker. So, causal body means ajnana. Ajnana means what? Erroneous knowledge about oneself is called as ajnana. A means not absence. A means apurna, incomplete. So, causal body is incomplete knowledge about oneself. And because of this incomplete knowledge, we have identity crisis. Now, for example, Arjuna. What was his incompleteness in his knowledge? He was not one person responsible for all that is happening. He is one part of the totality. And he is one in the totality. So he should not separate him outside. Let him merge in the totality and let the things happen as they are happening. When this happens, then only the Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti is clearly understood. Thus, Aitareya Upanishad prayer is one of the most beautiful prayers. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.